Hey everybody, New Life Church. I got my girlfriend with me today. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Do you have any idea what we're doing?
Not really, but I love being here with you.
We've been doing all these Devos and you're jumping in on Life of Christ. And today we're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 5. It's the Beatitudes. And Jesus gets down and he says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. I love this because he's telling us two things. Number one, when you are merciful, you're going to be happy, because that's what blessed means. Like, people who have mercy, joy comes with it. But I give mercy because I'm going to need it. You shall be shown it. We're going to need it in the future. And how much have we needed this in our marriage?
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Even yesterday. So, but I want to give you a few things that I just wrote down on how can I be more of a merciful person. And I would say the first thing is to just be patient for the weird quirks in people's lives that are around you. Like, I'll tell you this, you're weird, I'm weird. When we got married, before we got married, we were like, we're so much alike. Yes. And then we got married and we were like, we're nothing alike. And so the first thing like we really need to have back and forth, and every good relationship has this, is I'm going to give you mercy, you give me mercy. When Paul in Ephesians was talking about just strong relationships, he said it in Ephesians chapter 4, he said, be patient with each other and make allowances for each other's faults. And I just love that. Like, if you're taking notes, you can write that down. Make allowances. That's what mercy is. He says, make allowances for each other's faults because of your love. It's just like,
that's so good.
I love you. Mm-hmm. You love me.
Yes.
Every great marriage is not just a marriage that has great personalities, or they have a great vision for their family. It's great marriages that say, I make allowances for you. Yeah. You make allowances for me. You might see that on the floor.
Yeah. What is that?
What is that?
On the
floor. And I love how like she did this morning. She was just like, man, I have a man that takes out the trash.
I love that about you.
And I was
overflowing.
Like, oh, she's asking me to take out the trash.
It's overflowing.
All right. So make it like, and every great friendship is like this. Every great parent is like this. They make allowances for each other's fault. Know when, hey, it's time for me to be merciful. The second thing, and I want to say this just correctly, help the hurt that I see. Like, you're going to encounter hurts in your week. God's actually going to position people in front of you with hurts, with problems in their lives, because you're a child of God. And in heaven, He will sovereignly go, I need their hurts to get in the same path of my kids, because God has called us to be merciful and heal the hurts that we see in front of us. Would you read what we were talking about earlier out of Romans chapter 12?
Okay, and this is the Message translation, and it says, if you're called to give aid to people in distress, keep your eyes open and be quick to respond. If you work with the disadvantaged, don't let yourself get irritated with them or depressed by them. Keep a smile on your face.
That's what I loved about it when we read it. It's like, if you're working with people that they need the gifts of compassion and mercy in their life, don't get irritated. Don't get put out. Keep a smile on your face. And I tell you why. It's because God's been merciful to us. He had a smile on his face when he was pouring out love and grace and mercy on us. He says, we get to take that same mercy and give it to someone else. And here's the last one that I think is the most important. How do we give mercy to people? We give people in our life a second chance. We don't just, because it's very easy for me to just turn the light switch off and you never existed, you know. In Proverbs chapter 19, and this is what it says in verse 11. I love this. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. Wow. It's like the glory of a man to not just look at your problems, but to overlook the sin in your life and go, there's better things inside of you. This was the beauty in the ministry of Jesus, is that when it came to like Matthew the tax collector, or Zacchaeus up in a tree, or a woman by the well, or a woman caught in adultery, he would pour out that mercy and grace. I read a story, and it's been around forever, but it was a few weeks ago it hit me. At the end of the Civil War, President Lincoln was at the White House, just over on a veranda, and the garden was under him, and just crowds of people came up to hear what he had to say at the end of the Civil War. And right when he began to talk, someone in the crowd screamed out and said, "What do we do with the rebels?" And he was like taken back because he had a speech to make. And they were like, "What do we do with that rebel army?" And it was just all the soldiers that had just been defeated by the Union Army. And then someone in the crowd screamed out, "Hang them!" And then someone else was like, "Yeah!" And President Lincoln was like taken back. And then the crowd started to chant, "Hang them! Hang them! Hang them!" And right next to President Lincoln was his 11-year-old son, Tad. And Tad grabbed his arm, and the president looked down at him, and Tad said, "Daddy, don't hang them, hang on to them." And I thought, when I read that, I was just like, at 11 years old, he got the very same thing that Jesus was trying to teach us on the Sermon on the Mount. We don't hang people, we hang on to them. And there's going to be someone in your life this week, maybe while we're talking, somebody's just their face is just coming into your mind, and the Holy Spirit's impressing some things, is that we hang on to people. We give them a second chance because God has given us a second chance. We love you, New Life. Be merciful and be happy about it this week.